Alright, I'm back in here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another one of these. Chasing the rabbit holes, blowing our minds, trying to figure out what's going on with life. I don't know what to call these things. I'm gonna turn this off. It'll probably darken my face. It wasn't so bad. But yeah, I'm back in these. I've been doing these every weekend now, and trying to get all this information out of my head. Um, just kind of going through stuff that I've been looking through, trying to figure out the way our world really works. Just trying to put it all together, really. Just trying to find some kind of sanity. Put it that way. But I've been finding out a lot of interesting things. I had all this situated and ready to go for this weekend, and then today, right before I got off work, I was told that I didn't have to come in on Monday because my time was up because they didn't need me anymore. So I am officially unemployed. So here I am. I'm here. Yeah, it's like Friday night. It's like January the 25th. Happy birthday, Danny. My good friend Danny. He would be 42 today, January 25th. Son of a gun. He would be 42 today. He died back in 2000, August 10th, 2000. That's when it was. Yeah. We buried him August 14th. Yeah, I had to fly back down to Florida to do that. I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent there. I'm sorry. Um, he would love this stuff. He would absolutely love this stuff with the Giants and the whole thing, and going through all this, the stuff we've been talking about. He would love the hell out of this stuff. So, Danny, this is for you, man. So, anyways, yeah, I had all this stuff, and then they told me not to come back in, and my whole day's gone. It's done. I am just I'm kind of out of my head right now, and I'm kind of out of my element right now. And I'm like, well, I don't really know. I have stuff written down that I wanted to talk about that I was going through, but it's gone. It's out there. So, anyways, let's just start at the beginning. I guess I got this monster. It was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Look at this thing. It's like a phone book. Look at this thing, man. This thing is like a phone book. This is nuts. Big, huge print too. I like it. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, but I did not think it was going to be this big. I mean, this is crazy. You can see I've got post-it notes here. I've already started writing stuff down. I think it was like the first page. First page I started getting stuff on it. But it's really nice. It's like the full version of Genesis. It's like this makes the Genesis and the Bible look like the Cliff Notes version. Seriously. Now, I'm not trying to take away from the Bible at all, but this is pretty good stuff. And like I said before, this was in the Bible. This was part of the canon until like 500 years ago, and then they yanked it. I don't know why. Of course, then again, can we really know what 500 years ago they actually were? I mean, we've been going through the whole, they've been hiding history. The calendar's not even ours. I think we kind of went through all that stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. Before we start diving into stuff, before we really start diving into stuff, um, I've heard a couple people say it over the past week, and I'm going to wind up saying it here too. Everything we talk about here, I can't tell if it's true or not. This is just a guy. This is just me. I am sitting here. I got a laptop. I have books, and I have notes. This is what it is what it is. This is all stuff that I've kind of pieced together in my head. It doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't have to be true. I mean, it's as far as it concerns your faith, if you are coming into this as a Christian, it shouldn't hurt your faith at all. If you're coming into it as an atheist or anything like that, it shouldn't hurt your faith at all. This is just weird stuff. I've said it on another video that I am trying to get this stuff out of my head because I'm trying to figure out what it means to me. And if possible, if it sparks somebody's mind that either doesn't believe or even remotely thinks that it's something interesting, if it can spark you like it sparked me to look further into it and to eventually come to Jesus Christ, then hey, that would work for me. If it doesn't, if you think this is all bullshit and you think I'm off my rocker and you think it's complete nonsense, then that's cool too. If you just want to leave, that's fine. If you want to go out and look it up yourself and try to prove me wrong, if you find anything that's wrong, I am fallible. There was something that I came across the other day that I said I probably said that on a video and I probably shouldn't have said it. Then feel free. And I think it was the Cain and Abel thing. I think I might have said, whenever I was trying to piece together about why they were killing firstborn sons, I think I might have said that Abel was born first, Cain was born first, and then Abel. I'm fallible. It is what it is. I'm a human. So that kind of throws that theory out of the water, and that's what it is. Is you go back to the scripture, you test everything. You go back to the scripture and you find out that you're wrong, and you can say, hey, Lord steered me to a place where he showed me that I was wrong, and hey, I was wrong, so now we can get back on track and we can figure out other stuff. Now, does that mean that everything I say is complete bullshit? Possibly. Anything's possible. I've said that for years now. I've actually pissed people off because I've said that before, especially whenever I was talking to, it was one of the first jobs I ever had, and I was in a warehouse, and I was talking to he was kind of a devout Christian. He really was. He was trying to push me into a thing, or not really push me so much as he was trying to lead me into, believing the way that he believes. And I said, anything's possible. He said, no, it's not. I said, yeah, anything is possible. He said, no, it's not, man. I was like, no, yes, anything is possible. As far as God is concerned, no, anything is not possible because he has this set line that he's going to follow. He knows everything from the first to the last. That's what he is. As far as we are concerned, no, we don't know what his plan is. Anything at this point is possible. I mean, if you would have told me 10 years ago that, I would be sitting here talking about this, even being this devout of believing in Jesus Christ or God or any of this stuff, I would have said, you've got to be nuts. But then I would have stopped and said, well, anything's possible. It's just, it is what it is. Anything's possible. It doesn't mean it's probable, but it means it's possible. It's my Goonie shirt, by the way. I don't know if I've worn this one on here before or not. But yeah, anything is possible at this point. If I can get this to, if I can spark somebody's interest in it, and if they can go and look at it, and if they decide to take this and run with it the way that I've run with it, and then if they come to the same conclusions that I've come to, then hey, good on you, man. Because it's been a hell of a trip, and I feel so much better as a human being. For being here where I am now. So, couple random little things. We've been turning the Wi-Fi off, and we've been putting the phones on airplane mode before going to sleep. And I'll tell you what, man, I had 2 really great night sleeps, and then last night I didn't really get a good night's sleep. And I almost think that's because Angie said she put her phone on airplane mode, but I don't know. but I slept. I just didn't. It's like when I woke up, I was tired as hell. And I think that's just because I didn't have my snacks at work. I don't know. I don't know. It could be anything, but I'll tell you what, man. Turn your Wi-Fi's off. I'm gonna get. We have some of those timers. You know, the plug timers. I'm gonna get those plug timers. I'm gonna put them in here, and at 10 o'clock, these Wi-Fi's, the router and then the Wi-Fi, they're going off at night, and I'm putting my phone on airplane mode, and that's the way it's going to be because I slept so well. It's been for the past couple months where I've been sleeping, and then right around anywhere between 4:30, actually anywhere between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, I've been waking up with a sense of dread that there's something in the house, something's made a noise, and I got to go check it out. And so it's like it's almost every single time I have to just I get jolted up, and then I go to the bathroom, and then depending on how much of a feeling I have to go check the house. And then usually whenever I come back to bed, I can't get back to sleep because I'm just there and I'm up and I'm like, what's going on? But man, those past 2 nights, I just slept straight through. It was so nice. I think I woke up. I woke up once on I think it was either Thursday morning, and I think it was like 2. I think it was, and it was because Angie rolled over or something. And I was like, oh, okay. And I went back to sleep, and I slept right through into my alarm. And then the next night I did it, and it was the same thing. And last night I woke up at like 4, but I was able to get right back to sleep. And you don't get that feeling of dread. You don't get that feeling of there's something in the house. It just seems like whenever we got the Wi-Fi on, it just constantly feels like it's just dread. Right now, it feels like there's something behind me because it just feels, it just feels bad. It's this electrical signals doing something to your brain. So, and if you guys see anything behind me in the camera, please let me know because I don't know shit. But I've cleansed this house several times. I asked the Lord to please cleanse this house and keep out all evil spirits. Anything evil, please, Lord, I ask you in Jesus' name to clear this house. But anyways, enough about that. So I had that going on, and like I said, it's been good. It's like I said, try it out for yourself, man. Try it out for yourself. It was somebody else. I was listening. I think it was Parable the Vineyard. It's a YouTube channel, and I think they said that they had turned their Wi-Fi off and they had a pretty good experience with it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And then when I did it, and I was like, that's what we're doing. That's it from now on. The second thing was, yeah. Second thing today, I think it was today or yesterday. I was watching a video from Rob Skiba, and Rob, man, I got to get a hold of you because I got to figure out what's going on with this. So I got led onto this whole this thing about the Great Pyramids. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to pick this back up because I know in the last episode we talked about Enoch coming across 3 mountains. He said he came across one mountain, and then he looked to the east, and there was a bigger mountain. He looked to the west, there was a smaller mountain. And I said that I made a picture of them, and it reminded me of the 3 pyramids at Giza. So I didn't really follow that too much. I was just kind of looking at some Egyptian stuff just to see what people would say about it. And this morning, it led me to, was it this morning or last night? I think it was yesterday. Might have been yesterday where it led me to the Great Pyramid being called the Temple of Enoch. I had never heard of that before. I had never heard of that before. So The big thing is, more than likely the Great Pyramid, the biggest one, the Great Pyramid, was pre-flood. Because it's not a tomb. It's not set up like a tomb. It has air holes in it. There's no reason to have air holes if it's a tomb, and there were no markings on it except for some random graffiti nonsense. And the burial chamber at the very top isn't really set up to be a burial chamber. It's set up more like a temple. And so they were going through and they were saying, the entirety of the inside of this thing is coated with like an inch. I think they said either an inch or an inch and a half, probably maybe even 2 inches. I don't remember, of salt. And that can only come from being submerged in the water. And they were saying that there was a water line on the outside casing stones, but all the stones on the outside of the pyramid were removed within the past couple hundred years. I don't remember what it was. I didn't write it down because it didn't really seem like it was too important of a thing, and I don't think I wrote it down here either. No, I did not. So, I was like, okay, that sounds different, and I've always kind of had that feeling that, it was, and they've talked about the Sphinx being, because the Sphinx has water damage, they used to call it acid rain and all this stuff, but this is actual physical water damage. It's been damaged, almost like it's been submerged underwater, and so, I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then they talk about something about it's in Isaiah, I think I said it was. I can't remember. I didn't write it down. Like an idiot, I didn't write it down. But they were talking about a structure, a temple of God that they said it sat in Egypt, but it also sat on the border of Egypt or something. And it turns out that not only does the pyramid sit, in Egypt, it's like the center of Egypt, but if you look at old school, or if you look at the old maps of old school, you hear me? If you look at the old maps of Egypt, the line of the pyramid, it directly cuts what used to be North and South Egypt. It used to be two countries. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but they said that fits, and I heard that from like 4 different places. 4 different people were talking about this, and I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And it went on. I'm just going to go ahead and look at my notes because figure why not. The pyramid, or the pillar of Enoch is what they called. They were talking about it being a pyramid, and the name pyramid is almost literally fire in the middle, or fire in the midst, because pyre, it's fire, middle, it's the middle of the fire. It's the middle of the pyre. What would you say a pyre was? A pyre is like the place that you would make a fire. I want to say a place of worship, but that doesn't sound right. That sounds weird. But it's basically the place in the middle, pretty much. Let's put it that way. So I was kind of like, well, Enoch was the guy. He was the smart one back in the day. He was pulled up to heaven, and a lot of people were saying, he's the one that he would have. The angels would have given him the information about this, and the technology, and he would have known, and all this stuff. And apparently, there's some measurements. I don't remember exactly what they were. Again, I didn't write them down. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. There's some kind of measurements where it comes out to 365. I think it was 365 something all the way around. And of course, Enoch lived to be 365 days. They call Enoch the calendar, pretty much, because he's the one that came up with most of the stuff we have now. He was the one that came up with, there's 360. He actually says 364 days in a year in the Book of Enoch, and then I think in the other one, in the middle one, he comes 360 days. But the way that his calendar works is you add an extra week at the end of like 10 years or something. I don't know what it is, and it works out perfectly. And his calendar, the Enochian calendar, it's actually really cool. I saw somebody kind of drew one out where it was circular, and it kind of went around in the thing, and I was like, that's neat, man. And it was like there was 30 days to every month, and then there was like 31 in certain days. I think it was like 3 months were 30 days, and then 1 month was 31. The 3 months were 30 days, and one was 31 or something like that. And it came out to 12 months, and the whole thing, and that's the Enochian calendar. I could be wrong. It might have been 2 months and then one. I don't remember. I don't. I think it's what it was. I think it was 2 months. 2 months of 30 days and 1 month of 31. I sound like an idiot going back on myself like that, but that's what it was. And I saw it, and it's out there somewhere. Go look it up. It's a thing. I have to have a drink. Like I said, man, it's night. It's like 11:33 right now. I usually do these in the morning when I first wake up, but now it's just late. So, but I was reading that and I was like, it's an interesting thing. I can't say it's true or false, but it is what it is. So, anyways, it was going on, and I was like, well, okay, that it it makes sense to that point. It really does. And then I came over to the Lord directed me to a video of Rob Skiba. It popped up on my it popped up on the feed because, like I said, sometimes I'll just let the videos go and just see what YouTube hands me. And sure enough, Rob Skiba, it's from like it had to have been like 4 or 5 years ago. It said it was uploaded. It wasn't his channel, but it was somebody else's channel. It said it was uploaded in like 2014, and it was really, really weird because it was Rob Skiba not talking about flat Earth. If you guys know Rob Skiba, that's all he talks about. So he's talking about this pyramid, and he's saying, it sits at the dead center of the world. If you take a world map, you put the pyramid right in there. If you draw lines out and draw lines up, each of the four corners is the exact same amount of land mass. He didn't do that, but somebody else did it. But I think he said it somewhere along the line. And I don't like that because they were using a flat map, like, the flat standard map that we have where everything's like misproportional and all that stuff. And they were like, oh, it's got the same amount of land, whatever you did. And I'm like, yeah, but those dimensions aren't correct because you're using the flat map that distorts the hell out of the continents, and it doesn't look right like that. You can't make that assumption. I said, yeah, it looks good. It looks great on a TV screen, but it doesn't work that way. And then they were talking about, well, he said that, it's not flat. It's not perfectly flat on each side. It's kind of concave a little bit. There's like indentions in it, and so it wasn't. It was more like it'd be more like an arrowhead. If you've ever seen like those kind of four-pointed arrowheads where they're kind of concave in, and it's like in between each corner there's like a divot and it just kind of curves in. And to hear Skiba say the curves on the sides of the thing equal the curve of the Earth, to hear him say, or the curve of the planet, to hear him say that, I was like, man, this must have been before he started believing. This must have been before he made the turn, because that just sounds so freaking ridiculous. It really did. I was like, Rob, what are you doing to me, man? So he goes on, and they do this thing, and the other guys did this thing too, where they said if you take the pyramid and you put the Earth inside of it, circular globe Earth inside of it, the point at the top that goes from the top of the earth to the top of the point of the pyramid, you can fit the moon in there or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. And it was like, look, it's all proportionate and all this stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, but Rob, we don't believe that anymore, man. That doesn't work like that, dude. You're falling into this thing. What's this? So I have to ask the question. I need to send him a message or something, see if he'll get back to me about it. Because I don't know if he went back to it or not. Because for what he says now, for him saying that then, it's just kind of one of those things that I just kind of sit back and I'm like, shit, that really puts a damper on the flat earth. How does that, we can see that it's flat. We can send the balloons up and see that it's this and that and all that. And it doesn't even have to be if it doesn't want to. It doesn't change my opinions on my, or doesn't change my faith anymore at this point. But it's just like, when you hear the precision that these guys made this building to, and all this, and these things happen this way and that way, and you just kind of got to stand back and look at it and say, well, shit, well, yeah, that sucks, because they built this thing according to a round earth, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. They also call it the cornerstone, or was it what they call it? The cornerstone of the cornerstone of the world is what it was, and it was just kind of like, it's a weird place to put it because it's on a certain parallel. It's on a certain, what was it, longitude? It's a longitude, latitude. Longitude's long, latitude's, it's on a certain latitude. Yeah. And I'm probably wrong on that. I don't know. But it's on a certain point, that it's equal distance from this and this. And it's equal distance from here and there. And they say it's the dead center of, like I said, the land masses. It's the dead center. It's in the very middle. Pyramid. It's the fire in the middle of the world. It's the light in the middle of the world. It's the thing in the middle of the world. They put this thing with such precision that, such and such stars can only align with the holes in the opening, and yada yada yada. I don't know. I mean, it's set due north within, they said it was like a, what was it, like a point, somebody said it was like a 0.300th of a degree, or I don't, it's set with such precision that it's crazy, that you can't deny that they knew what the hell they were doing whenever they made this thing. And there's a lot of people that say that it could be used as an energy thing, it could have been used as a temple, it could have been used as this, could have been used as that. I don't know. But anyways, I get back into, just kind of listening to that today, and then I came back to this, and I kind of thought about, the pyramids of Giza. I was thinking about that, going through my book of Jasher, and I don't think I have it. I don't think I have it written down in here, but in here it says. It doesn't have it in here, but it actually talks about Enoch a fair amount, and it talks about Enoch being a fairly big guy. He was, not only was he considered to be one of the smartest guys. Actually, there was a guy before him that they said was supposed to be really smart. But not only was he the one that, was chosen to go up in heaven, but he apparently had vast armies behind him. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instruction of the Lord, in knowledge and in understanding, and he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days, which that would help explain, whenever he was lifted up and he did all the thing. Uh, And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwelt, saying, "Where is the man who wishes to know the ways of the Lord and the good works? Let him come to Enoch." So pretty much he says that, and all these guys start showing up wanting to understand, give him. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of the Lord, and he made peace amongst them, and peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. So Enoch somehow caused, I think that was my dog up there, Enoch somehow caused there to be peace on earth. This was still before. I don't know if this was before because the giants were in the time of Lamech. I think Lamech was Lamech before or after? No, Lamech was after. So, anyways, but he reigned over the sons of men 243 years, and he did justice and righteousness with all his people, and he led them in the ways of the Lord. So he started gathering all these guys. All these guys wanted to follow him. They followed him to the points that it said somewhere along the line he had, oh man, it was something like 800,000 people behind him. And it started clicking in my head. Just kind of randomly started clicking in my head. That if... Yeah, that was my dog. I can hear her up there lapping water. That if Enoch had this many guys behind him, and he decided we're going to build a temple to the Lord, they could make the Grand Pyramid. They could do it very easily within however long. I hope that didn't pop up on the thing. Get out of here, stupid notifications. Stupid notifications. But that would make sense that they would want to do this, or maybe they wanted to make a thing for him. I don't know. But it's crazy whenever you hear all these measurements of this pyramid and how they line up with Enoch and how, all this other kind of stuff. And you're just like, oh, that makes sense in a weird biblical kind of way, It's like all this stuff. It's once you put those pieces together, she can't get in because the door just closed on her. Lila. She does that. Dog. I swear, I leave the door open for her and then she winds up closing it. She did good. But it just kind of makes sense to the point. But they followed him so much so that they followed him to the ends of the earth. They said that he was going to go down to where it was winter, pretty much is what it was. And it was after this that he rose up and rode upon a horse, and he went forth, and all the sons of men went after him, about 800,000 men, and they went with him one day's journey. And the second day he said to them, "Return home to your tents. Why will you go? Perhaps you may die." Some of them went from him, and those that remained went with him 6 days' journeys. And Enoch said to them, "Every day return to your tents, lest you may die." They were not willing to return. They went with him, and on the 6th day some of the men remained and clung to him, and they said to him, "We will go with thee to the place where thou goest. As the Lord liveth, death only shall separate us." And he urged them, and the kings returned. They caused a census to be taken in order to know the number of the remaining men that went with Enoch. And it was upon the 7th day that Enoch ascended into heaven in a whirlwind with horses and chariot of fire. And on the 8th day, all the kings that had been sent to Enoch sent back to bring back the number of men that were with Enoch in that place from which he ascended to heaven. And all the kings went to that place and found that the earth was filled with snow, Upon the snow there were large stones of snow. And one said, let's break through him to see if we can find the men that died with him. And that's that. And they searched, but they could not find him, for he had ascended into heaven. So these guys were more than willing to die for Enoch. I just think it's crazy. I think that's a part of the story that I've never heard before, and I never would have even thought of, because you would have thought that he was just some guy. He was the seventh in line, which makes perfect sense. He was the seventh son. Sevens are the big number here. He was the seventh son chosen by God to give the world his knowledge. So Enoch comes back, gives all these guys this knowledge, and he says, hey, here's a temple of God for you. And this is going to stand for eternity, and people will know it's supposed to stand as a monument, as a reminder, as a witness to God's glory or something. It might have even been in... I don't think it was in Revelations. I'm pretty sure they said it was Isaiah. I didn't write it down, though. I'm such an idiot for not writing it down, but it was such a weird day today. It was such a weird day today. So anyways, you put that together, and it's like, hell, man, it's possible. Anything's possible. So I just before I started recording, I came back into this. And this is my little picture of the pyramids of Giza. And right here, chapter 26. Now, this is him talking about covering, walking the earth and finding different things and stuff like that. But just kind of listen to what this says, because this kind of it's weird to a point now. Now that we know that might be that and this other stuff, so now you got to think, well, maybe there's something more to it than what we know at this point. So chapter 26, Book of Enoch. And I went from there to the middle of the earth. Now, of course, there's a little author's note here says that, the hollow earth theory has been espoused at various groups through history. The theory was used to create the book and the movie Journey to the Center of the Earth. He didn't say he went in the earth. He said, and I went from there to the middle of the earth. And I saw a blessed place in which there were trees with branches alive and blooming on a tree that had been cut down. This is interesting. So the Nile Delta. Go look this up on a map, man. It's so crazy, because this is just me. This right now I'm spitballing. This is how my brain works. There she is. Come on, Lila. So the Nile comes down whenever. Yes, I love you too. I know. I'll let you out in a second. Whenever the Nile empties out into the Mediterranean Sea. Yes, I love you too. It branches out. It does this thing where it branches out like a almost. People have said it looks like a. Come on, lay down. I will get you in a second. People said it branches out like Some people said it's almost like a vagina, like a tube. Like it's the literal spot of creation. I think Skiba even said that. What if the temple? I'm calling it a temple now. What if the pyramid is the exact spot where God made Adam? But it was a blessed place in which there were trees with branches alive and blooming on a tree that had been cut down. The river looks like a tree that had been cut down, but it's moving. I don't think this is meant to be taken literal. I think this is what he was seeing as he was going through. This is something else. There's something else going on here. And I have to look into it more now that I'm seeing this, because a lot of these places where he describes where he was going, I went here and there were so many mountains. I went there and there were so many mountains. There was this happening here. There was that happening there. I think there's something else going on here. I have to look more into it. If I can figure it out, I can figure it out, and I'll come back to you and I'll tell you. And there I saw a holy mountain. Now this is not the Giza. This is the middle one. And underneath the mountain to the east there was a stream, and it flowed towards the south. What is she doing? She's over there smelling stuff. I don't know. And underneath the mountain to the east there was a stream, and it flowed towards the south. Okay. And I saw towards the east another mountain higher than this, and between them a deep and narrow valley. Now, I know they've dug down underneath the pyramids, and it's all sand, so it couldn't. Weirdy. She's getting it. She's getting into stuff. She's walking around the room. She's getting into stuff. She's scaring herself. Come on, get up here, lay down. And between them a deep and narrow valley, and in it ran a stream underneath the mountain, and to the west of it there was another mountain lower than the former and of small elevation, and a dry deep valley between them, and another deep and dry valley was at the edge of the three mountains. Now that's kind of weird to put in perspective. I tried to draw a picture of it, like I said, and it just didn't come out right. But and all the valleys were deep and narrow, being formed from hard rock, and there were no trees planted on them. And I was very amazed at the rocks in the valleys. That passage, just that whole chapter, that was that whole chapter. That just he could be talking about an actual place. I mean, he could have been to a place that has three mountains, and I'm pretty sure if you find it on a map, you're gonna find, oh well, this one's big, this one's bigger, this one's smaller, and then there's gonna be valleys, and it's gonna be all kinds of stuff. And I even said that they're talking about seeing these kinds of things at the Grand Canyon. You never know, and that's fine. But he's describing Giza. He's describing Egypt. I went from there to the middle of the earth. That's what they call it. They call it the middle of the earth. And I saw a blessed place in which there were trees with branches alive and blooming on a tree that had been cut down. It was a tree that was on the ground, and it was blooming out. And then he sees these three mountains. Now, as far as the waters and stuff like that, it's been said that there were streams that used to go up underneath the pyramids, because part of the reason that they think that this whole thing was electrical was that there's a water source down there, that you would have to have a flowing water source to be able to get all this electricity to go through these things, because I don't know exactly how it worked. But is it a thing? Is it a thing? I don't know. That's just me spitballing. This was what I saw literally right before I hit record. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's nuts. It's crazy. Whenever you put it like this, it's crazy. It makes you think, and then it makes you. What is this? Then I said, this is continuing. Then I said, what is the purpose of this blessed land, which is entirely filled with trees? What is the purpose of this accursed valley between them? Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, this accursed valley is for those who are cursed forever. Here shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips words against the Lord, not befitting his glory, and say hard things against him. Here they shall be gathered together, and here that shall be their place of judgment. And hold on. In the last days there shall be the spectacle of righteous judgment on them in the presence of the righteous forever, Here shall the merciful bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. In the days of judgment, they shall bless him for the mercy in that he has shown them. Then I blessed the Lord of glory and set out his glory and praised him gloriously. Then I went out to the east and middle in the midst of a mountain range, a desert. I need to find that. I need to find that. I need to find that passage, man. Because it says in it, get that out of there. It says in the passage in the Bible about Egypt and about how they will come to that point, and that's where they will be judged. Hold on, just 1 second. I don't need this. I need. What do I need? What do I need? Why did I not write this down? It sucks so bad. Yeah, let's look at verses with it. Yeah, idols of Egypt. I know. I'm sitting here doing this. I actually made it through the entire Bible, by the way, which is all right. It was. I was. I was really happy with it. I got through Revelations today. Man, I wish I could remember where that I saw that. Because it was. It was something along the lines of in those last days. I'll try it this way. I'm gonna look up Pillar of Enoch. How's that sound? See if that'll pop up. See if they will give me the. See if they will actually give me just the Bible verse. That'd be so nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice if they would just give you the Bible verse. That way you can just kind of go and just be like, hey, there you go. Even though they won't. This is an advertisement. Oh, for crying out! You know what I hate? Okay, seriously, you know what I hate? Are the people that they get on YouTube and they'll be like, I'm going to tell you about this whole thing that I found, and I'll tell you about this and this and this, and it's in my book if you want to get my book too, and yada yada yada. And then it's not even like 5 or 6 lines later they'll say, but I go into much more detail in the book, so if you buy that you'll get more information than I'm giving you here. I hate that. I fucking hate that. It's like, this is, and especially the guys that are trying to give you information that are trying to save your life, or trying to save your soul, or trying to do something to help you out, not only spiritually, but just trying to help you out as a whole. And they're like, well, if you really want to know the truth, you're just gonna have to get the book to find out the rest. I've heard that so many times over the past 2 or 3 weeks, and it just drives me insane. It's like, you're gonna sit there and make the video You put all this time and effort into editing this video, making this video, scripting this video, all this other kind of stuff, but then you're just going to stop just shy of it and tell me that I got to buy the book to get the rest of it. That's such a douchey move, man. It wasn't in Psalms. Was it in Psalms? Surely it wasn't in Psalms. Psalms 110 through 118. Is it really that easy? Is it really that easy? I don't think it's that easy. And it's not that easy. I mean, seriously, come on now. Not going to be in Psalms anyways, because it wasn't even in. That's dumb. It's just absolutely dumb. Why? Why can't you just give me what I need, man? Just tell me what damn. And again, I should have wrote it down, and I feel like such an idiot for not writing it down. I'd have to actually watch the damn video probably to be able to understand where the hell it comes from. But in the end, though, it came out to where like I said, it it could very well be possible that oh for crying out loud, it could very well be possible that because we're told that over and over we're told that this is stupid. This is really stupid. That the pyramids are so bad because the Egyptians are bad. They're the worst thing ever because you got the Masons that are constantly using the pyramid as a thing, and then you've got the eye that they're going through, and they've got all that. I don't want that. Just show it to me. Just give me the damn thing. This sucks. This sucks so bad because nobody's telling me what I need to know, and it's like all I want to know is the passage. This is what's so wrong with the internet now is that it just will not show you exactly what you want to see. It just constantly goes through and tries to push you around to different things in different places. And I know it said it in there, and somebody pointed it out, and I looked it up at the computer online, and I was like, oh wow, that's right. But it's just ridiculous. I can't find it. I just can't find it. It's not even here. It's just so stupid. But, but like I said, it was talking about the end of times, and at the end of times that that they would come to a point, and at this point, at the middle of the earth or whatever it was, like I said, that it was sitting on the border. It was sitting in the midst of Egypt and sitting on the border of Egypt. It's Isaiah 19:19. Damn, I'm good. I'm not that good. That was terrible. Isaiah 19:19. I'm gonna put KJV just to make sure, because man, they try to give me some other kind of Bible stuff. In that day, here we go. In that day shall there be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. No, that's not what I wanted. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt, where they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a Savior, and a great one he shall deliver them. And the Lord shall be known to Egypt, and the Egyptians shall know the Lord in that day, and shall do sacrifice and oblation. Yea, they shall vow a vow unto the Lord and perform it. And the Lord shall smite Egypt, and shall smite and heal it, and they shall return even to the Lord. He shall be entreated to, and he shall heal them. On that day shall there be a highway out of Egypt to Assyria. Assyria shall come to Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyria. The Egyptians shall serve with the Assyrians. In that day shall Israel be third with the Lord bless. How does that tie into this? In the last days there shall be a spectacle of righteous judgment on them in the presence of the righteous forever. Here shall the merciful bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. In the days of judgment they shall bless him for the mercy in that he has shown them. This accursed valley is for those who are cursed forever. I don't want to say it, but I can almost guarantee there's somewhere in the Bible that says that the Egyptians are going to be cursed forever. Here shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips words against the Lord, not befitting his glory, or say hard things against him. Here they shall be gathered together, and here shall be their place of judgment. So they're going to be judged. In the last days there shall be the spectacle of righteous judgment on them in the presence of the righteous forever. Here shall the merciful bless the Lord of glory. Is that the same thing? It's close. I don't know. This says that this says that the Lord will smite Egypt, he will smite it and heal it, and they shall return even to the Lord. And this says there will be judgment, and there shall be a respectable, righteous judgment on them in the presence of the righteous forever. Here they shall be gathered together, and here shall be their judgment. I don't know. I just kind of the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. This is Isaiah 19. And shall come into Egypt. The idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. That sounds closer to it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight each other against his brother, everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to their idols and to the charmers, and to them have familiar spirits and the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Lord of hosts. Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. It just there's a thing going on here, you know. And this was Enoch being taken away with the angels. This was the angels showing him stuff. I wonder if they were showing him. I wonder if they were showing him something. I don't know. I don't know. And again, I'm not saying it's true. I don't want to mislead you guys at all. I really don't want to mislead you because I don't know. I don't have the answers here. I really don't. That was literally just a spitball session. That was not even what I was planning on remotely talking about tonight, but that happened. That whole thing just happened. So I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting thing, you know. I almost wonder, and I can't be the first one that's ever made that connection. Somebody else somewhere has had to have made this connection, because every time I make some connection, from the Bible to the book of Enoch to the book of this to the book of that to the books of whatever happens, every time I make a connection, 9 times out of 10, the next day I find out that somebody else has already made that connection like 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm like, okay, there you go, I got you. So I don't know. If that is a connection, it's a connection. It's a cool connection, because that links the book of Enoch straight to Isaiah. You know, I mean, if you're wanting connections from Enoch to the Bible that don't include, who did they say was it? Shoot, I don't remember who they said it was that directly quotes from it, but I think Jesus even drops Enoch's name or something like that. I don't remember what it was. I want to say Daniel, but I don't know if that's right. So yeah, man, that's just weird. That's just that they seem so close together. It just seems so close together. And again, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to mislead you. You can make your own assumptions on that, because I don't really know. I don't know how to put that together. I really don't know how to put that together. That that shouldn't be sweating. It really shouldn't, but it is. What the heck? Is the cup broken? No, it's sweating. That's so weird. Yeah, this cup shouldn't be sweating, man. It's freezing balls down here. No, it's not sweating. It's broke. Oh, man. I like this cup, too. Right there. It's got a crack in it. Oh, my gun. Well, so much for that. It's a small crack, but it's a crack. Anyways, I know I actually stopped everything stopped dead so I could figure out what the hell was wrong with that cup. Wow. I don't know. I don't know where to go with that. I don't know. That was just something that happened. You know, like I said, I was just reading through the book and I just happened to come across that passage, and I was trying to visualize it in my head, and it came out as the pyramids of Egypt. Next thing I know, I'm hearing about the Pillar of Enoch, which is the grand center stone of the world. And then, you know, I find out that it's entirely possible for Enoch to have built this thing. And then I find out that Enoch may have had a vision of this thing, and that it, it may coincide with the passage from Isaiah. I don't know. I can't tell for certain. Go test this out for yourself. Go figure this out. Test all spirits. Uh, test test all knowledge. See what you guys can make of that. That was nuts. So what else was I going to talk about? There were several other things. I'm not going to get into the whole name of that. I had tacos tonight, and they're kind of kicking my ass right now. I've been doing a whole. I've been trying to figure out this whole 440 to 440 432 hertz thing. That's this frequency deal. As a musician, I know that we tune everything to 440. It is what it is. That's just the frequency, the vibration of the notes as you tune it. And apparently you tune it down to a 432, which is just it's flat. It's flat enough to where you can hear a difference. It's I think whenever we go from 440 down to like 420 or something. It's like a half step, maybe. I think 442 is close to a half step, but it's not. It's like this kind of half edge in between. I don't remember exactly what it is. Um, but I was listening to some tones, and they do something to you. There's something there. It's I don't know if it's psychosomatic or not. It could have been psychosomatic because I kept telling Angie I was like I'm feeling something. Something's happening. It's vibrating something in my head. My eyes feel like they're doing something. My fingers are tingling. My toes are tingling. It's doing something to my body. And I was like, maybe there's something to it. And then I started listening to popular music using this 432 tuning. And whew, boy, that was some of those were life changing experiences. So I'm a Metallica kid. Been into Metallica since '91, and so I've had a good 20 some odd years of listening to all of Metallica, the entire catalog, and I heard Nothing Else Matters in 432, and it was a soul filling experience. I've never heard it that good before. It's just something to it. I was tearing up. That's how good it was. It felt because there's those drawn out continuous tones. And a lot of this 432 stuff, it's the long continuous tones. It's as the vibration goes, it does something to you. There's something that happens in your body whenever this tone hits you. Um, you hear about these sonic attacks that people have, that they're using these sonic tones, especially tones that we can't hear, but they're these sonic tones that they're messing with your mind. This is a new weapon thing that they're making now. And, you hear about this stuff, and it's like, there's got to be something to it. That these tones, they can do something to you. So it was something there because that was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. It was amazing. It was Nothing Else Matters. I was like, that was the first song I ever learned how to play on guitar. And when you play it on guitar, you feel it when you play it on guitar, and it's especially acoustic, and it's just like it's a beautiful thing. But this was just listening to it, and it was reverberating through my body. It wasn't just in my head, it was reverberating through my body, and I just felt this something. I don't know. It was weird. And there was other songs too that I was listening to. Wish You Were Here sounded weird as hell. It didn't there were parts of it that were okay, but there were parts that were like because you hear a song so many times, and it's like you get it ingrained in your head, and when you hear it again and it's just that slight bit off, you're like ooh, it's one of those types of deals. But there were other songs too. Bohemian Rhapsody, it was a little bit off, but there were still those tones that were able to get you. And I was telling Angie, I said, when it came to like Nothing Else Matters, when it came to that song, it was the only way that I remember listening to those songs was back when I had tape players. And I'd have a cassette player. It was 9 times out of 10, it was my little yellow Sony Walkman that I used to have, the 90s, early 90s, tape player little thing. And it had a drag to it. The motor inside of it wasn't perfect. It didn't pull it at the correct speed. It always pulled it just a slight bit slower than it should have been. I wish I still had it. I had 2 of them in my life. Both of them broke, so I can't do it. But all tape players kind of have that. They just they slow it down just unless they've got that really, really nice motor inside of it that's able to keep up with it, that's tuned to be able to keep up with it. Most all tape players they slow it down just that tiny bit. And I was like, I haven't had this kind of experience with this song since I was a teenager, since back in the 90s, whenever all I was listening to it was on tapes, because I've even said that listening to them now on as an MP3 or on the CD, they feel empty. They just don't feel good. They just feel bleh. It's like, how could you go for 20 years with listening to it a certain way, and then you just turn around listening to it this way? It's just like, ugh, you know. She made a joke. I was like, well, you look at you, you're getting old. Everything sounds better on vinyl. And I was thinking, well, yeah, they probably do sound better on vinyl because vinyl probably pulls the same way too. You're dragging it against this thing. It's not a laser, or it's not a computer being able to read it like that. You are literally dragging this across the surface to be able to listen to a thing. It's like, maybe that's why everything sounds better on vinyl, because you're slowing the song down just that tiny bit to be able to pull that frequency down. And again, it may be nothing. I may be it may have been psychosomatic. I may have just been looking for something that wasn't there. I don't know, but that's what it felt like. It felt like there was something there. It felt like there was something beautiful happening there that I haven't felt since I was, like I said, a teenager, whenever I first started hearing that stuff. And it was pretty amazing. Um, I don't know how much I want to start messing with that stuff, because you start getting to those kind of frequencies and you start opening up different things. And I still don't know how much of my third eye I really want to start cracking into yet, because, not only could you crack open your third eye and start talking to God, but you could also start talking to other things, and I don't want to do that. So, you know, I'm being careful with that. I just know that's a thing. If you get into it, be careful. That's all I got to say. But there's something to it. There's definitely something to it. And they were talking about not only 423, but they were talking about 500 hertz. They were talking about 700 hertz, 750 hertz. I think, I don't know what it was. That are like DNA healing, and then you start looking at the videos itself, and they start talking about chakras and all this new age healing, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't want to get into the new age healing stuff, because we were not meant to have that knowledge of good and evil. We were not. That was one of the rules. You stay away from that kind of stuff. You do not mess with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So that was that. Um, Corinthians 14. I'm going to look at that real quick. I got to get up there and let that dog out sooner or later. But we're going to look at this. And I wrote this down because there was a passage. There are several books in the New Testament that I absolutely loved. I mean, they were just, man, inspiring as hell. John, the not like First John or Second John, just John. That one just really got me. That was such a, oh man. By the end of that, I was like, I'll go worship Jesus, man. It got you. It was really, really good. Where was it at? Oh no, I'm doing this again. I'm pausing. I'm sorry, but it had something to do with. What's this? It's basically about people speaking in different tongues, but all coming together, and that as long as everybody is talking about God and worshiping God, that as long as we can all come together, talking in tongues should not be a thing. and that if somebody comes in speaking in tongues, and if he's speaking in tongues and if somebody can interpret, let them interpret. But if there's no interpreter, let him talk to God. Let him do his thing. Do not let anybody mess with him. But it was see, this is another one of those that I didn't write it down perfectly. I just kind of wrote it down quickly, and I should have gone back because when I'm listening to it at work, there's no numbers. It's just like chapter or whatever, but there's no numbers, so you can't really find out exactly when it is. Could have been Corinthians 15 for all I know. For crying out loud. But anyways, it was something along the lines, or at least what I pulled from it, and I could be wrong because I can't find exactly what I was looking for. It was something about everyone, at least like I said, as I pulled it, everyone is bringing everyone with the word plays a different role. That we are all bringing something different to the table. At least, like I said, that was. See, it's not there though. It's not. It's just a story about the women being quiet in church. I don't want to get into that. It says it in the book. If you don't want to believe it, but it was. But it was something along the lines, and I think this is part of it. Was if anything be revealed to another that sitteth by, let the first hold his peace, and let the prophets speak two or three, and let the other judge. If anything be revealed to another that sitteth by, let the first hold his peace. To me when I heard it, when it went through and I was listening to it. It was everyone comes at it in a different way. Everyone comes at it with a different role. We all have a different role to play in it. You'll get guys that'll do nothing but prophesy using revelations, and they'll just go through the whole thing, and they'll just say this is this, that's that, whatever. You will have guys that will do nothing but focus on New Testament stuff. You have guys that will do nothing but focus on Old Testament stuff. You will have guys that do nothing but look at conspiracy stuff, but they're doing it in the name of the Lord. And damn, he's good. He's good. How is it then, brethren, when ye come together, every one of you hath a psalm, hath a doctrine, hath a tongue, hath a revelation, hath an interpretation? Let all things be done unto edifying. He's good. He's good. I was barely even paying attention, and it stopped right there. I'm not kidding. It's right there. That's what I was reading, was that we're all coming with different things. Flat Earth, globe Earth, this whole thing with the fallen angels, with Enoch, with Jasher, with all this stuff, and there's one truth to it. There's one truth to it, that Jesus Christ is will be our Lord and Savior, so that we may get into heaven. But we are all bringing these different things together and holding them up to the word, to each other, that we can all question it and we can all find something in it, and we can all be a part of this thing. And I think that there was something to it that told me that, I mean, we're all kind of trying to achieve the same thing here. I mean, really, we are. There's a lot of guys that are just trying to kill each other when it comes to, trying to find out certain things or do certain things. And I guess there wasn't a crack in this, because it doesn't feel, other than the bottom, it doesn't feel wet. But we're all trying to find out what's going on here. We're all trying to get to the same place. And it was just like, for me, that just made the most sense, that, everyone with the word plays a different role. I'm here with this, and I'm no expert. I'm no expert. I'm nobody. I'm just a guy that's just reading books. That's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to put all this together, because it's like I said before, the Lord brought me in on a flat earth. And from the flat earth, he's taken me to places that I could never have even possibly imagined. And right now I'm chasing giants. And should I be chasing prophecies? Should I be chasing the word of Jesus? Should I be chasing, should I be chasing the law, the commandments? Because some guys are doing that. Some guys are chasing the laws. Some guys have given themselves completely over to the laws. And I think that's fine, as long as there's this belief. But as long as you hear it and test it, and as long as it holds up, I think that we can all get together without having to rip each other's heads off. We're all different here. We're all different. We're all trying to get to the same place. We're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to glorify his name. At least I hope a lot of us are. And there's times where I sit back and I think, am I doing it for me, or am I doing it for him? And I am doing my damnedest not to do it for me. I really am. I'm trying to figure out the best way that I could do it for him. And this was the only way that really came to my head, was doing these videos, was sitting down and saying, hey, look, this is that. If you can use this to get to the point where I am right now, then hey, that's that would be a wonderful thing. I would love to have more people that even remotely think the way that I do about all this stuff. Because man, it kills me sometimes. I can't talk to people. I got to talk to one person today at work. I got to talk to a guy at work today, and he came up, and he and I had talked about the Book of Enoch before, because I was reading it, and I keep it out on the table, so I don't have to keep putting it in my desk. That way I can just pick it up whenever break comes, and I can just read it. It's a thing. And he came around, and he and I had talked about, how crazy the Book of Enoch was. I didn't tell him why I was reading it. I just told him, it's a crazy book, and I know he's got to be religious, because he knows some stuff, and he seemed like he was there. And he asked me about Book of Jasher, and I said, yeah, well, this is a book that they pulled out of the Bible, and I said, right now I'm just kind of chasing giants. And he said, oh, yeah, that's right. They did talk about giants. And I was like, yeah, this is this, that's that, yada, yada, yada. And I went through the whole thing, and I was telling him about, we found Gilgamesh in the Book of Giants, and it kind of led me to a place. And then we were talking about, We're talking about the flood myths, and he seemed really interested in that because we were talking about trying to connect the dots between two different cultures and all that. I need it, but we were connecting the dots between two different cultures, and he was really interested whenever I told him about the Epic of Gilgamesh. At the very end of the Epic of Gilgamesh, whenever he goes, I think the guy's name is Una Pistum, maybe. Am I wrong on that? I don't remember. But I said, yeah, it's a flood myth where at the very end of the Epic of Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh goes up to this guy that got on the ark with his wife and his kids, and he survived the flood, and Gilgamesh was trying to figure out what the meaning of his life was or whatever it was, and he was like, it kind of you could see that little spark of interest pop, like that was there was something going on in his head that might start his journey, and that was the same thing that happened to me whenever I was even remotely listening to the flat earth stuff. I was like, it was starting. It was like that little pop that was like, oh, okay, I'll try that. So that's what I'm hoping this does. And if it works the way that it works for me, and I hope it does, I really do, because all this stuff leads back to one place in the end. It leads back to our Lord. But that if I can do for anybody else what it did for me, then this will be why I'm doing this. It's just to be able to bring people back, just to be able to bring people in. Put it that way, because it's an amazing place once you get here, and to be able to sit down every day and just talk to them, just be like, show me more, give me something more, show me something, blow my mind today, give me something new, and give me something new so that I could give it to somebody else. And it happens, man. It happens. You may not think that it happens, but man, it happens. Like I said, just this whole Enoch, Pillar of Enoch thing. It just happened. He led me from here to here to here to here to here, and then we went through the whole spitballing thing just a second ago, and it's like that's the hand of God, man. That's the hand of God. That's how it works. That's how this whole thing works. It's pretty amazing. That's what it is. I'm burning myself out. It's like 12:30 now. I'm burning myself out. Yeah, other random stuff. I don't have any more notes. I mean, the only other thing I had was flood myths. Who had flood myths? What cultures had flood myths? Do you guys know how many cultures had flood myths? Well, the Incas, the Mayans, the Polynesians, the Egyptians, the Hopis, the Aztecs, the Germans had a flood myth. The Greeks, the Aboriginals, the Indians, that's Native Americans. I don't know, is that Indians or? That's Indians. I suck. The Vikings had a flood myth. The Chinese flood myth is actually our flood myth. They just put a different name on it. And the Sumerians, which is the Gilgamesh myth. That's everybody that had a flood myth. And apparently out of those, 80% of them involve boats where they saved animals. And I think 20% of those have it. It was maybe even 27%. I don't remember how it was. It was like 20% of those have it to where it was a boat that saved animals, and it was a man and a woman and 6 other people, 3 guys and 3 girls. 20% of the 80%. Are you kidding me? Whew. Man. And then I just have this written down about the firmament. about there being a flat Earth with a firmament. Who has flat Earth myths and firmaments? Well, the Egyptians do. They've got a firmament. The Greeks, the Romans, of course, everything the Romans have is the Greeks. The Hebrew, that's what we got. The Indians like the Indians. The Aboriginals. Interesting thing about the Aboriginals, their entire mythology is based on music. So somebody created that through sound. I learned that because I have this thing about Australia, and I spent like a year of my life in the public library in Ball State and Muncie, and just learning about Australia. It was crazy. But the Navajos and the Sumerians and the Mayans also have firmaments. Whew, that's a lot of cultures. It's amazing how the same, almost all the same cultures that have a firmament have a flood myth. That may not mean anything. It's just stuff. It doesn't mean it's real. I don't know. It may or it may not. You never know. Jasher chapter 2. I thought this was interesting. This was interesting. I didn't know about this. And it was in the days of Enoch that the sons of men, I think Enoch was like the second or third. Was he like the son of Seth or Seth? Yes. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to get into mythology or get into the linealogy. Sorry, mythology. And it was in the days of Enoch that the sons of men continued to rebel and transgress against God and to increase the anger of the Lord against the Son of Man. And the sons of men went and they served other gods, and they forgot the Lord who had created them in the earth. And in those days the Son of Men made images of brass and iron, wood and stone, and they bowed down and served them. And every man made his god, and they bowed down to him. And the sons of men forsook the Lord all the days of Enoch and his children. The anger of the Lord was kindled on account of their works and abominations which they did in the earth. And the Lord caused the waters of the river Gihon to overwhelm them. And he destroyed and consumed them, and he destroyed the third part of the earth. And notwithstanding this, the sons of men did not turn from their evil ways, and their hands were yet extended to do evil in the sight of the Lord. And in those days there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth, and there was no food for the sons of men, and the famine was very great in those days. There was a flood that destroyed the third part of the earth. There was a flood before the flood. Now, I'm sure I'm not the only guy that's ever talked about this. But this was a flood that God got pretty upset with everybody that was out there, and he said, look, you guys are pissing me off. I'm done with it. He floods them out the first time. He only kills, what did it say? One third of the earth. Didn't do the trick. So then he lets it go for a while, and it gets bad to the point that he says, all right, fine, I'm going to flood the whole thing. Let's see how you guys like this. I didn't know that. There was a first flood. I didn't know that. That was neat. That's why you read this stuff, man. And it doesn't mean that it has to be there. I mean, it doesn't mean it has to be there. It doesn't mean it has to be true. It just means that it adds to it. It adds to it. It doesn't change my faith. It doesn't change what Jesus and I have. If we have anything, I pray that we have something. I'm sure we do because he does. They show me amazing things every day. But yeah, I mean, other than that, there's just some random little things. They're talking about they call them the judges and rulers in this one, but it's basically the fallen angels coming down and taking wives by force from their husbands, according to their choice. In other stories I've heard where they were shapeshifters and they changed into the image of their husbands so that they could mate with them, which goes along with Greek mythology where Zeus would change into certain characters, certain things, so that he could mate with them. We're watching a Greek myth show right now that every 5 seconds I just want to pause the video just so I can tell Angie, hey, that's like this, man, that's that. Every time. It's crazy. Because then you go through something like this too. This is chapter, what was this? Chapter 9. And the king and all his servants with Terah, with all his household, were then the first of those that served gods of wood and stone. This is after Noah. This is after the flood. And Terah had 12 gods of large size, made of wood and stone, after the 12 months of the year. And he served each one monthly, and each month Terah would bring his meat offering and drink offering to his gods. Thus did Terah all the days. Or Terah, I don't know. So he has 12 gods, like the 12 signs of the zodiac, 12 months, 12 yada, yada, yada. It popped in my head because the video or the show that we just got done with, this whole Greek myth thing, it was about Hermes. And Hermes classified himself as the 12th of the Greek gods. And it was like, oh yeah. So here's the thing about all that, is that I'm trying to put this in a way that I can say it. When you look at the night sky and you see certain star shapes, if there's somebody on one side of the world that sees it and says, oh, that looks like an archer. You know, you can see the belt and you can see that he's holding a thing and you can see this and you can see that. How in the hell is it that somebody on the other side of the world is going to look at that same thing and say, oh, it looks like an archer? That doesn't mean that's what it is. I mean, hell, man. But you hear these same things over and over again. You know, when we're over here, we're talking about, Egyptians talk about Orion. The Greeks were calling him, what were they calling him? Was that wasn't Apollo? Shit. And we just heard it the other day too, and I said, it's Orion, it's the thing. No, I can't remember who they said it was, but I mean, it's the great hunter, you know? And it's like, and then you hear the ones about the, you know, the dragons and Cassiopeia and all this stuff, and you're just like, but that doesn't mean that that's what other people thought it was. But they're so similar, and the gods that all these people have within, and there's 12. Like, wait, there's 12? You're telling me that nobody else could have put 2 and 2 together and just made, like, you know, 10? They got exactly 12? That everybody had 12 months of the year, other than maybe the Incans, or the Mayans, that's what it was. Because their calendar is so crazy, even though their calendar is very similar to Enoch's. I know. Because at one time I said, you know, our calendars are so jacked up because we have to have the leap year. I mean, there's got to be a better way to do it. And I remember somebody asking me, you know, well, what do you think's a better way to do it? I said, well, there's got to be another way to do it. I mean, I know that we've got it every, you know, such and such 0.25 days, and that we have to add that day into the whatever. What if we just did it to where we added such and such amount to the end of a, you know, couple years or something? It worked out. I think I even figured it out one time. I did the math, and it was like every 4 years, or no. I think I did the math where I said, like, it's every, oh God, I can't remember now. Because I was like, I'd like multiplied it up or something, and it's like every so many years you just add like a couple of days, you know, like 4 or 5 days, and you can use those days as days off or whatever. And, you know, the whole thing, I don't know what the hell it was, but it was like, just because we use 12 months doesn't mean these people have to use 12 months too, but there's so many cultures that use 12. as a thing, especially for either a calendar or for a system of gods. Yeah, there's 12 gods here, there's 12 gods there. It's like, wait a minute. Why is this why does this stretch out between culture so much? Because it is a very gigantic, vast game of telephone. It's exactly what it is. All these people are talking about the same exact thing, and yet we constantly still think that everybody evolved on their own and nobody came from anywhere else. That we all started in one place and we all kept these myths all the way through. And no, man, you can believe that if you want. Could be true. It could be true. Everything I say could be bullshit. Because we don't know. We're probably never going to know until we're dead. But we don't know, do we? Do we know? We don't know. How about her yawn? Oh, wow, that was nice. Right in the camera. I was on camera. I did it right in the microphone, too. That just means I need to go to bed. That's what it means. It's 12:53. It's time for me to go to bed. Anyways, in conclusion, yeah, I'm just trying to put this shit together, man. I don't know. Again, I'm just some guy with books trying to figure all this out. It's this pattern I've been put onto. And I heard today that you're not supposed to fall into listening to grand fables. And I'm like, these aren't grand fables, though, are they? These are, I think these were meant to be read. These were opened for us to see. Now, they may not be perfect between them, but I think they were there by God for us to be able to find them eventually. I mean, we're talking about all these people that are in the same stories. So I think we're supposed to find this. I think we're supposed to do this. I think we're supposed to go through these books and kind of put the pictures together, trying to figure it out. I don't think these are grand fables. I think Greek mythology and all this other kind of stuff, I think those are grand fables. Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh, is a grand fable, and I'm not believing any of that. I mean, I'm using that as a I'm using that as a way to be able to tie in the fact that everything spreads from one thing. Because if I can show that, it all started from one spot and then it telephoned out from there, then you can secure your faith in that, which is what it's doing for me. It's every day I do this, it secures it. It locks it into place, and then I get filled with spirit just a little bit more, I use the I heard it the other day that you can't stop sinning cold turkey. It doesn't work. You can't do that. You will eventually go back to it, and that it's a process. When you get saved by Jesus, you ask Him to fill you up with the Spirit. It is the empty glass, is what it is, and it's an empty glass. And all of the air inside of it is your sins, your past life, everything that you used to be, and you ask the Lord to fill you up. And that's what it does. As it fills up with water, the air gets pushed out, and it's slow. It's a slow process. You can't just dump it all in at once and hope for the best. It does not jibe. It cannot work like that. So that's what I've been asking is just fill me up slowly, slowly. Do it right. Do it the right way. Because I I learned very early into this. I learned that you can't just go cold turkey. You have to take it step by step, and then you have to ask for forgiveness as you go. And when something else pops up, you're just like, that's another thing. It's another thing we could just write off the list. And you become a better person. I feel like such a better person. I really do. And you just start loving your life more. You start loving your future more. You start loving where you're going more. You start loving other people more. Forgiveness has become a beautiful thing. There's people in my life that I never even remotely thought I'd ever forgive ever, and just letting that go is so good. It just makes you feel so good. Just let it. You just let it go. Just and not that Disney bullshit. Let it go, man. They were singing about some other crap. No, just release that. Release that hatred. Release that anger, and just you don't need it. You don't need it. I haven't had to buy myself anything. I used to spend all my money on toys every week. It's like if we weren't going out to a video game store to buy something, I was ordering something off of Amazon. I'd get something new in every week, and it's like that was filling me up. It was taking up space in the room, but it was filling me up is what it was doing. And now it's like, eh, you know, I've bought three things in the past 2 weeks. Is that right? Or has it been three things the past 3 weeks? I may have bought more than that. I don't know. Did I buy those action figures? I don't think I did. I think I was before that. I don't remember, and I don't know. But the three things I bought off of Amazon have been the books, and that's just to be able to give me something to do other than just nothing. It's reading comic books at work. So it changes you, and my mentality's changing, and my ideas are changing, and it's not. I had a conflict of interest today. Um, hearing about something that hearing about something that's, and I don't want to get into it because I don't want to be the one that sounds judgy. I really don't. But hearing about something that I used to think was okay, and then hearing about it today, and I just like, yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay anymore. So it changes you. It really does. I don't know if it's. How do I say this without making it seem like it's like hurting me to change my mind? It's not hurting me to change my mind. It's not hurting me to change my mind. When I look at it, I'm like, well, that's different. That's why would I? My mind is changing now. Why is that like that? But I know why it's like that because it's changing. Because the Lord changes you in ways that you didn't think was possible, and I have reasons now. Why I shouldn't think certain ways, why I shouldn't think like that. It's because it's not the way the world works. So it's different. It's definitely different. And like I said, I'm doing my damnedest not to be judgmental, and I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm really not. I got my opinions, and they're my opinions. So there you go. If you think you can decipher my opinions based upon what I've said, then that's on you. And that shouldn't change anything because they're my opinions. It is what it is. So there you go. I don't even know what that means. I know what it means, but I don't know what it means. So, anyways, that's pretty much all I had. I don't know. Since I'm hoping I'm going to be getting a call about a job next week because I'm not working next week. So I may have all the time in the world to be able to come down and read Jasher. I don't know. This week's going to suck trying to figure it out. I'm going to have to do some heavy duty praying to the Lord and hope that he can point me in the right direction. And I kind of knew it was coming too. I really did. I kind of knew it was coming today. There was a part of me that was just like, this is it. It was either going to be this week or next week, and I was even saying next week. Whether this one place calls me back or not next week, I'm done. I'm going to leave and just take a week off. But now that time frame's moved, and so we're gonna hope for the best. See what's up. So, anyways, I gotta get off here. I gotta go to bed. It's 1:00. Thank you guys for watching. If anything in here has sparked your interest, like I said, look further into it. It's out there. It's all out there. Book of Enoch, Book of Giants, Book of Jasher. That's all the giant stuff. Jasher, like I said, is a more. It seems to be for now. I haven't gotten too far into it, but for now, it just seems to be like a very, very enhanced version of Genesis so far. I don't know. And then just look other stuff up too. Just start taking notes. Anything that sounds weird, just write a little note out and then go look it up somewhere, like I do. It's like anything that kind of pops into my head, I'll write it down. Write down actual passage numbers. Don't be like me. Don't just kind of half-ass it and just write down what you think it is, and then it's not a thing. Now write it down. Test everything. Test everything in the spirit. And ask him to show you the way. Ask him to keep expanding your knowledge. That's been the coolest thing that's happened to me. Has been my knowledge expanding. Put the phone down. Turn the wireless off. I can't express that enough, man. Dude, those 2 days, that was like the best sleep ever. And I'm going to turn it off tonight too. And like I said, tomorrow I'm going to set up my little timers so that I don't have to keep unplugging them all the time. And I'm just going to set them up, and that's just going to be it. It is what it is. And then that way, we don't have to live with them, man. We got to have them. Unfortunately, it's going to be trying to figure out how to wire everything up is such a pain in the ass. I can do it. Like I said, I can do it. But then we still have the phones. And unfortunately, the phones have the worst reception in the world out here. I can live without my phone. I can live without this. I really can. The only thing I really use this for anymore is I get on to Reddit. It's pretty much it. Reddit and my calorie counter. So, I'm trying to lose weight. So that's pretty much all I do. Other than that, maybe my email, but I get my email on my computer. So I don't play games, I text Angie, but 9 times out of 10, I can just talk to her just by looking at her. So it's like, I really don't need it. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't want it. If possible, I'd really like to have just a landline back. That way people can call me there. And if you can't get a hold of me, too bad. You don't need to be able to get a hold of me every second of the day. That's stupid. That's dumb. These things are dumb. It's dumb. And then I heard the other day that somebody was saying this will probably be the only computer that anybody have for their entire lives. I'm like, come on, man. That's so fucking stupid. I'm too old school to have this. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. I'm just too old school to have this. I just don't like it. I don't like it. It doesn't do anything for me at all. I really, other than, like I said, calorie counter. Or when we go looking for video games, I use it as my little video game thing, but that's it. That's it. Other than that, YouTube at work. I can get YouTube at work on the computers. I just do it on here. That way they don't track my usage at work. I don't know. But I need to go to bed. I'm going to I'm turning airplane mode on right now. That way it's done. I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to unplug my Wi-Fi and I'm going to go to bed. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, don't, whatever. Test everything. If I have said anything wrong, then correct me. If I have said anything that sparks your interest, go look it up. If I have said anything that you just don't care about, then go on with your life. God bless you. Have fun, you know. I'm going to try to get into some more deep stuff. I've been thinking about deeper stuff. Stuff I really don't want to tackle, but I've been thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So you guys take care. I wish you all well in all your future endeavors, and I hope that the world lasts for you. God bless. Take care. Save often. I'm posting gameplay videos again. So if you guys actually watch this, or you're watching the gameplay stuff and coming into this, you're like, what the hell is this? Yeah. So it's like it's going two ways. It's weird. But I'm posting gameplay videos again, just to get them out, because I have months upon months worth of gameplay stuff, but I gotta get rid of it. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and like I said, figure it out for yourself. It's out there. The world is a beautiful place. It really, really is. God bless you guys.